So we're going to get into the charts and take a look at the markets in general. Is this the end for Bitcoin? I don't think so. I think we've been ranging for a little while, but we'll start on the monthly. And I mean, this chart is Bitcoin in general over time just wants to go up. I mean, we've gone from 16 all the way pretty much to 105, 10, just about 110. Retraced a bit, but the monthly is looking good. There's a just over a day, 2 days basically before that closes. Go down to the weekly. Um, Weekly's still looking good. A couple days ago, this was in the red and wasn't really looking that positive. Kind of looked like an SFP on the weekly, which when that happens, um, like here and here, is generally not a good thing. But this week has over half the week's gone. It's reclaimed the weekly low and it's pushing up, so it's still looking bullish. If it closes above here, that would be a weekly break in market structure and makes one think that the price might continue to go up. If we just pull a quick fib from this bottom of this candle here, this weekly candle from mid-December, we can kind of treat that as a range. It's when we go down to the daily, this is the 3 day. Um, it's kind of spiked the bottom of the range. If we go down to the daily, it's taken out some liquidity from this area here, right? So it's swept the low of the range, SFP, and then it started pushing up. It's got past the mid range and it went to the top. And what did it do up there? Deviation, and then back in the range. So deviated here, a couple taps along the bottom, but this level held. If it comes back to this level again, it's not going to be looking that positive, but it could still take out some liquidity from this area here and push up. But so far, what it's done is go down to the 12-hour. It's got a 12-hour. It just kind of swept the mid-range, got back above. Got about 6 hours left before this 12-hour candle closes, and if it does, then that means the market on the 12-hour has turned bullish, because it'd be a break of market structure from here. And if this goes back up to the top of the range, usually when the range is deviated on both ends, the third time it goes up, some of the time it'll just keep going. And like I say, when you look on the weekly, this looks, for now, looks positive. So you got to kind of have a plan for either way. What I'm thinking is that we get a close above here. It's likely to, you look for a potential break out of the range, maybe a retest, and then up. Alternatively, if we end up going down past the mid-range, there's a short down to the bottom of the range, and then you're going to want to see what happens there. I mean, this could, if we get below the bottom of the range, it could be looking at a longer retracement down into this area here, and then possibly some ranging for a number of weeks. Who knows? It's kind of too far ahead to look at. We just kind of deal with what's in front of us right now. Yeah, so that's Bitcoin. Go over to ETH. On the monthly, I mean, the monthly market structure break was kind of down there. right? So we're bullish on the monthly. It's got a bit of a retracement coming here, but there's kind of a level through here that I'm looking at. And if we pull a fib from kind of here to here, this kind of 2 monthly range back from, April, May, we've kind of dipped below this on the monthly. Now we're above it. And if we go to the weekly, it just looks like it's ranging. It looks like came out of the range, deviation, back in the range, and all the way to the top. Took out the high, SFP, it's gotten back down. So we'll just have to wait and see what this does. It could tap this range again. I'd be looking for probably longs if it got down into this area here. Um, we could get retracement all the way back here, bit of a bounce, and then back towards the top of the range. And I think if it gets to this area again, I think it's gonna head higher. But it kind of depends on what Bitcoin does. Because right now, if you look, see on the monthly for Bitcoin dominance, it's just been, I mean, how long has it been? Since September 22, Bitcoin dominance has been going up. So generally when that happens, it's taking liquidity from everything else, Ethereum, all the alts, and they don't do as well. But if you look at this whole range, when you pull a fib, it's coming into kind of the sweet spot. And I'll explain what this is in another video. But usually price reacts somewhere in this area, and although this is a massive range, it still could come up quite a bit. Got this giant bunch of monthly liquidity right here. Basically a bearish monthly order block. If so, I would think that somewhere in this area, dominance might start to fall. And if Bitcoin just kind of hovers around and maybe ranges while that's happening, it's very likely that ETH BTC, which has been on a serious downtrend, it's like the worst looking chart in crypto since, we're going on 3 and a bit years now. I mean, it kind of got a bit of a pulse there, but I mean, when Bitcoin tops out, the last time Bitcoin topped out, this thing just started to rip, and then it ranged a bit. And as Bitcoin's been going up the last basically 2 years, this has just been dying, a slow death. And this is kind of when I pull a fib from here to here, this is kind of in the sweet spot now. It's like at a discount, basically. So usually if price is going to react, it's going to come down somewhere in this area, and before it starts to either range and then move up again. So I'm expecting it to come down a little bit more, perhaps just because it doesn't look like it's wanting to do much. If you go on the weekly, kind of every time you think it might reverse, it just drops again. So I'm kind of looking at this area now as a potential area, but we'll have to just wait and see what happens. I mean, if once we finally see a bullish market structure change on the weekly time frame, and then maybe a retrace after that, and then you'll be starting to think like maybe this thing has bottomed. And I think we're getting close, but not quite there yet. And when it does happen, it can, I mean, when it started to come around and it started to move up, ETH has the potential to get some liquidity from the market, because all this is Ethereum over Bitcoin. So it's a ratio. So if Ethereum becomes worth more than Bitcoin, then basically people will start putting their money that they made from Bitcoin into Ethereum and other alts, just like last cycle and the cycle before. And Ethereum, I'm expecting it to do pretty well during that time. It's usually towards the end of the cycle once Bitcoin's kind of topped. And like I say, I don't know if we're quite there yet. I think we've got a bit, bit higher to go on Bitcoin, whether it happens now or in a few months from now after a bit of a consolidation or dip. But so far, like I said, Bitcoin's looking okay, and this isn't looking good. So if you've held altcoins recently, I mean, got a bit of a bump here, a couple spots where it's been kind of a slight bit of an alt season and things have gone up, but overall, alts have been taking a pounding. Ethereum's just kind of been ranging. So unless you're in a specific coin that just happens to be bucking the trend, and you're holding alts, it's probably been a bit painful for you. But I'm expecting that to change at some point. If we look at the S&P, this chart, it just wants to go up. It just wants to go up and to the right since pretty much the inception of, I mean, overall, you know, on the monthly, I mean, take a look at that. The more money that's printed, it just keeps this thing going. Inversely correlated with BTC. You know, the stronger the dollar, the weaker risk on assets are. And this US dollar has been in a range for pretty much, quite a while now. Since November 22, it's just kind of been in this range, and it's kind of come out. It's kind of retraced, come out of the range, retraced. Whether this is a deviation and it goes back to the bottom of the range, or whether it, whether it comes and takes out these highs. If it does that, I think that's bad for risk on assets like Bitcoin, and wouldn't be good. Would likely mean Bitcoin risk assets go down for a little bit of time while this is kind of going up, because they're kind of inversely correlated, not directly, not all the time, but overall I'd say that, there is a correlation there. One I, keep mindful of. It's not my main focus, but it's something to watch. Yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens, but we'll play it like a range, just like a, gets to the top of the range, we'll see what happens. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Yeah, so thanks for watching. There'll be more updates to come, probably do this weekly. Hit the like button, that would help out a lot with the algorithm, and feel free to subscribe. I'd love to chat at you again, not too long. Thank you.